Let us start with Chapter 4, Supply. Let us learn what is production. The quantity of goods created by the available factor of production during a fixed time period is called production. Supply means the quantity of production which a producer is able and willing to sell in the market at a given price at a particular point of time is called supply. Stock means the total available quantity of goods with the producer which can be offered for sale in the market as per the ability and willingness of the seller is called stock. That means whatever is remaining with him which is not been sold is known as your stock. We learned two words, willingness and ability. So let us understand the important concept for supply, willingness to sell and ability to sell. The total quantity of a goods available with a producer is not called supply but it is called stock. It will become a supply only when he is able and willing to sell it at a given price at a particular point of time. Second is ability to sell. Ability to sell depends upon the availability of stock. For example, trader has a desire to sell 1000 packet of oil while he has an available stock of only 500 packets. Then the ability to sell is only 500 packets. Thus, supply is of 500 packets. Factors affecting supply. First is price of goods, that is products, and the second is factors other than price. Price of goods. Price is an important determinant of a supply. A producer sells goods for earning profit. Thus, there is a positive relationship between price of a goods and its supply. Second is factor other than price. Here, the first point is cost of production. Change in cost of production affects the supply. For example, when rent paid to the owner of land or wages paid to the laborer decreases, then the cost of production also decreases. And similarly, it will increase. Second is level of technology. When technology advances, time and efforts are saved. Here, goods in large quantities and better quality can be produced, that too with the same or low cost. Then we have future expectation about price. If seller speculates price of a product to rise in future, then he contracts the current demand so that they can build up stock for the future and vice versa. So future effects. The other factors are increase in number of firms producing the product, existence of political stability, favorable natural condition, presence of efficient laws and order, industrial relationship between the owners and workers. On the other hand, supply decreases when the above factors becomes negative. Individual supply and market supply. Individual supply. The supply of good by an individual, that is firm seller, at a given price at a particular point of time is called individual supply. Market supply. The sum total of all individual supplies of all existing sellers in the market at a given price at a particular point of time is called market supply. Here in the table you can see firm A, firm B, and in the last column the total of A and B. So price is also given accordingly, what is the demand of each person and what is the total supply of the firm. This is same as what we have learned in the previous chapter of demand. Now here also you can see when the price is higher, supply is more, and when price is lower, supply is less. Here it's a firm who decides. So firm is thinking that when price is high, then he should sell more, and when the price is low, then he should sell less of his commodity. So now this is your law of supply. Now you can see of firm A how when the price is low the supply is less, and when the price is high the supply is also increasing. Here there is a positive relationship between price and supply. So you can see in the first graph of firm A, when the price was 10 rupees, then he had only 80 kg, and when the price went to 50 rupees, then there was a supply of 400 kg. Similarly with firm B, when it was rupees 10, there was only 60 kg, and when it was 50 rupees, they supplied 300 kg. So now they are doing the combination of both. So 80 plus 60 is equal to 140, 400 plus 300 is equal to 700. Similarly the others. So here we see and we learn that there is a positive relationship between price and supply. As you have learned in the demand also supply function, similarly here also we have the same formulas, and here Sx, that is the supply of X commodity, with that which are the functions, that is your price of X commodity, level of technology, factors of price, other factors, these are all included in it, and this is your formula for supply also. As we have already learned law of demand, similarly now we are going to study law of supply. When all other factors affecting supply are assumed to be constant, as price increases, supply also expands, and as price decreases, supply contracts. Assumptions of law of supply. Price of factors of production remains constant. There is no change in the prevalent state of technology. Level of competition remains the same. Expectation regarding future price are ignored. Other factors like government policy, transport facilities, natural factors, etc. remains constant. Now let us see the diagram. You can see on the x-axis supply of apples, and on the y-axis you can see the prices. Now here, plotting these points on the graph, we can see A, B, C, D and E. These are your price supply combination. As you can see in this graph, when price is rupees 50, supply is 200 kg, and when the price is 60, you can see the supply is 400 kg. Then so on it goes 70, and its supply goes to 600 kg. The curve SS formed by joining these points is called the supply curve, and it has a positive slope. Relationship between price and supply. Sellers pursues the objective of profit maximization, and when price rises, they see that the possibility of increasing profit. When price rises, those producers who were not willing to sell their stock at lower price starts to sell the stock. Let us learn the expansion and contraction of supply. When other factors remains constant and only the price changes, then what is the concept over here? Price is on y-axis and the supply of commodity is on your x-axis. As you can see here in the schedule also, when the price rises to 80, supply expands to 800 kg. When price further rises to 90, supply extends to 1000 kg, which is plotted as point C. The movement from point A to point C on supply curve SS is called expansion of supply. Now from the initial point A, if price falls to 60, supply contracts to 400 kg. Similarly, if price falls further to rupees 50, the supply contracts to 200 kg. That is pointed as point B. So the movement from point A to point B on the same supply curve SS is called contraction of supply. Increase and decrease in supply. Keeping price factor as constant, if supply increases due to any other factor, the supply curve will shift towards right, which is called rightward shift in the supply curve. Keeping price factor as constant, if supply decreases due to any other factor, the supply curve will shift towards left, which is called leftward shift in the supply curve. So increase and decrease in supply, your main concept is your price is constant and other factors are changing. So here in the diagram you can see the price is on y-axis and supply is on x-axis. Initially supply curve is represented by S1 here at price of rupees 20. So the supply is of 300 kg. This is plotted as point A. This is given as your initial point. So increase in supply takes place when price remains constant at 20, but one or some other factor changes in favor of supply. Then the supply curve shifts to the right to S3 and the supply of apple increased to 400 kg. This is indicated as a rightward movement to point A to point C. Now let us learn decrease in supply. At constant price, if one or some other factor changes against the supply of apples, then the supply curve shifts to left to S2 and the supply of apples decrease to 200 kg. This is indicated by left movement of supply curve from point A to point B on S2. So here we have increase and decrease of supply. I hope this is easy for you because you have already learned in demand the similar concept. In supply, what we have learned is when price increases, the supply also increases, and when price decreases, supply also decreases. But there are some exceptional cases also where your supply will increase if the price is falling and your supply will fall if the price will increase. For example, rare goods. Certain goods are rare even if the price increases. The supply does not increase. For example, ancient coins, old books, or your original manuscripts. These things we cannot increase. So such goods should be kept out of the study of supply also. Second is perishable goods. Highly perishable goods like milk, milk product, green vegetable, meat, eggs, fish, etc., which cannot be stored for a longer time. Even if their price falls, their supply will not contract because they cannot be preserved. So in current time, with availability of storing such goods in cold storage, even this exception is a matter of debate. Price determination. Price determination explains the process of determining a stable price at which goods are actually bought and sold in the market. Such determination of price is done in all forms of market and it is known as determination of equilibrium price level. A consumer thinks that prices are decided by the producer or seller, but in reality, individual producer or seller do not decide the price. Prices are determined by the interaction of market demand and supply. As per demanded schedule, as the price rises, the demand decreases, whereas in the supply schedule, as price rises, the supply increases. So the demand curve slopes downward from left to right, whereas supply curve slopes upward from left to right. So what happens is supply schedule and demand schedule moves in opposite direction. Equilibrium is attained at only the point where these two curves intersect each other. The point of intersection is known as price equilibrium. Such equilibrium price for goods exist in the market. And individual sellers take this price as a signal to determine prices of the individual produced in the industry. In perfect competition, firms take this price as given. In monopolistic and oligopoly markets, this price is taken as a signal. Even a monopolistic has to take a price signal from the total demand and total supply. According to Marshall, the market demand and market supply are called the invisible hands of the market and the entire process is invisible. The two curves form a cross as shown in the figure. In the figure, the demand curve DD and the supply curve SS move in the opposite direction. They intersect at point E, which is called equilibrium point. At equilibrium point, the equilibrium price is ₹30, which can be determined by plotting EQ. At this price, quantity of demanded and supplied OQ is 600 units. This is called equilibrium quantity. Now let us see if the industry increases the price to ₹40, ignoring all the demand and supply, then here you can see that demand has come to 400 units. That means it has decreased from 600 to 400, while the supply has increased from 600 to 800. So it is a problem for the industry basis. So here demand is lesser than the supply as shown by the distance between point A and C. The market price will tend to fall back to ₹30. This is called the equilibrium process of the market. Now, if the price is reduced by the industry by ₹20 by ignoring the demand and supply schedule, you can see the total demand expands to 800 units while supply becomes less by 400 units. Since demand is greater than the supply as shown by the distance between point D and B, the market price will tend to rise back to ₹30. This again is the invisible process of the market. You can learn the differences between stock and supply, and also you can learn between the expansion contraction and increase decrease of supply.